7 p.m.
David Harris.
Present.
Josh Vaughn.
Yes.
Jason Nolan.
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle.
Yes.
Jonathan Larson.
Yes.
Sig Ingram.
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. First is public comment and recognition of guests. And we did not receive any public comment requests. So we'll move straight to presentations, which first is the Exemplary Nights. First, we will honor our Exemplary Night staff members. For our Exemplary Night staff members, you have been recognized by your peers for your exemplary work. As a Board of Education, we want to thank you for your efforts and positive impact on Blue Ridge. From Schneider Elementary, we have the entire first grade team, Carrie Brackenhoff, Noelle Cooney, and Emma McEwen. From the intermediate junior high, we have Stacy Lewis. And from the high school, we have Kendra Jones.
Let's go open that one.
Principal, as a Board of Education, we appreciate your efforts and excellence. We want to say thank you for a job well done. From the high school, we have Colton Prater. And we also have from the high school, Eva Varas-Smith. 8th grade, we have Callan Reorder. Sorry if I said that. Come on up. 7th grade, Taylor McLean. 6th grade, Oscar Tybel. 5th grade, Jaden Milliken. 4th grade, Charlotte Frost. 3rd grade, Roran Rowland. 2nd grade, Nicholas Whitehouse. 1st grade, Bristol Ellis. And kindergarten, Evelyn Johnson.
Grab a picture. Well, you guys here, let's do this. You guys come together. Lauren, come up this way. Follow me. Follow me. Good, good, good. You're going to come right in front because you're shorter. Sorry. Okay. Ready? Hold your certificate up. Big smiles. Nice job. All right, parents, go ahead. Oops, sorry.
Feel free to come forward.
All right, congratulations, you guys.
Up next, we have communications. In the board packet is the IASB liaison talking points. And then committee reports. And then administrative reports.
Thank you.
Well, I will say in the meantime, while we're waiting, if you look at the ISB talking points, one of the areas on there was summer training with Patrick Allen, and that annually, it's the way we look at it, in order to continue to grow and learn. Well, they actually do have a workshop called the Trust Edge, so we can do something similar to that. So be aware what you wish for. But I wanted to see if you guys would be able to look at your calendars for July 29th or 30th, and see if you had any availability to do an evening where we could go over a workshop. We can either do one that's pre-created, or we can do one that is really, we have the ability to kind of be flexible and create our own curriculum for it. 29th and 30th, probably a 6 o'clock start.
What month, I'm sorry?
It would be July 29 or July 30.
I could do the 30th, but I'm on shift for the
It's
20th.
gonna be gone.
Okay. Well, we'll do some, we'll come back with some dates next month, so no big deal. We'll find some times.
Don't wait for me.
Oh, well, we want everybody to be a part of it. That's the important part. So we'll work on it. No big deal. He's got quite a few dates. What's that?
So wait for David, don't wait for me.
All right, well, we'll keep moving into administrative reports. So I want to start with just a couple of things that we'll focus on, and actually they'll be covered a little bit later. One of the big ones is the expansion of dual credit opportunities. So first I wanted to say thank you to Paige. Paige has been a tremendous supporter and part of creating these opportunities for the students in Blue Ridge High School, working with Dr. Tresnick and EIU. Currently, we have 2 master's courses that are currently taking place, two dual credit courses that are taking place that are education related. Next year, we will have 2 additional courses. We'll talk about those in a little bit. You know, the great thing about that is, number one, they'll have the opportunity to get 10 college credits if they would like to, which is pretty amazing leaving this space. The other great component of it is that, you know, it's really an opportunity for us to develop and grow your own. We actually have a student over there that's a part of the program currently, Brody, who's been doing a great job there. And it's just really an awesome opportunity to hopefully one day we can help bring, first of all, create a teacher pipeline here in our district and hopefully bring them back one day. If not, I get it, but we would love to have all those individuals back that go through our program. The other cool thing about it, this is a CTE pathway grant, career and technical education is what that term is. And so basically, for the next 2 years, this year and the next 2 years, this is a grant-funded program. And so all of the costs, from the computer equipment that we utilized for some of the setup, to the cost of the instructor, supervision, supplies, those are covered within the grant. So we're very thankful to have that opportunity. It'll give us a few years to kind of see if this is a path that we want to continue. Do we feel like it's high quality learning and that our students are really benefiting from it? I think we will. We have a great instructor as well that's been providing some instruction. So looking forward to that opportunity. That is one thing that the district has continued to work toward, is providing more dual credit enrichment AP courses to make sure that we're hitting all students, from students who need support, who are below level, all the way up to those students who are achieving. So really thankful for the work that's happening there. Other component is Blue Ridge Connect. Not going to talk about that now because that's in the good of the cause, so we will get there here in a little bit. We'll go to our principal reports.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Hello. So is this on?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just a couple quick updates. For fun at Snyder this month, we are having an Oreo March Madness. And tomorrow is the championship round, and it is a face-off between lemon and double stuff. Shocking.
Double stuff.
I know. I was,
Living for sure.
what?
Yeah, living for sure.
You think?
Oh, yeah, I would love that.
So you are welcome to come by and taste test and cast your vote, and we'll see who's crowned the king Oreo. I don't know. I was surprised. I was surprised by lemon, but it is what it is. Academics, we have been looking at how well we are progressing toward our end of the year goal for 70% of students to grow a level on iReady or maintain if they are already above grade level or at grade level. And so in the board report, I had broken down by grade level kind of how those kids are progressing toward that goal. Everybody is on track. First grade, we need a little more time on iReady. What we're discovering is that we are not giving kids a whole lot of time on the Chromebooks, on their iReady to do their learning paths and to make that progress. So we've shifted a little bit, and we are adding a little bit more, or kind of reconfiguring our time to give them a little bit more time on iReady to make those gates. And then we will revisit all of those during our collaboration meetings. We are also
working together as a building instructional lead team and our SEL Tier 1 and Tier 2 teams to kind of talk through what we can do to better support our kiddos as far as social emotional learning. So, I've talked to you all year about the fact that we are teaching them that we play with our hands off and we are good friends, and when we get upset, we don't use our hands, we use our words. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can systematically make sure that that's happening every day in each classroom, that kids are learning that proactively rather than being sent to the office and hearing it from me. So we are working as a team to kind of figure out what we can do with that. We're going to really dive deep into our SEL curriculum and make sure that we're meeting all of their needs there. We've had a lot of fun things happening. We had our Read Across America days with Mrs. Beeman, was amazing. She put together drop in and read events, and we had parents coming in and reading with their kids. We had an amazing assembly. It was a hoot. The kids did, book relays, and there was lots of screaming and shouting and lots of fun. So that was awesome. And then our concert went over really well. The second and third graders did an amazing job. They were wonderful. And then our kindergarten registration just happened. So if you happen to know any more kiddos who are kindergarten age, they turn 5 by September 1st, and have not gotten their name into our registration system yet, send them our way, because we would love to have them. We're still sitting at, maybe just under about 35, 40. So we'd love to have a few more kids. Any questions? Okay.
Good evening, everybody. We've had a pretty exciting last part of February, early part of March over in Mansfield. Recently, Mrs. Colross, Miss Donaldson, Miss Jameson, and Miss Dotson took all of our 8th graders over to a career fair over at BCA. It's a pretty exciting time. The 16 schools were invited through the local ORE, and so what's kind of cool about it is it was very interactive. So kids got to go to different career booths from law enforcement, skilled trades and banking and stuff like that, and they really got to kind of get their hands into some of it and really kind of understand some possible career paths. So it was a really good opportunity for them. Also recently, our high honor roll students from the second quarter got to go on a field trip, and they went to the hockey game over the Bison. The Bison's over in Bloomington. It was a pretty exciting game that finished with a winning goal by the Bisons in the last seconds, and so it was really exciting for them. Last week we started our state testing for IAR, that's the Illinois Assessment of Readiness. We took one a day, each day, and really kind of gave kids the ability to focus on that high cognitive time in the morning and to hopefully get our best results and get our most accurate data. Unfortunately, we had a large number of kids sick last week. The influenza's been hitting hard. I don't know if your families have got to avoid it. I hope they have, but this week we've been doing tons of makeups, which is good. We've had Megan Hardesty and Kelly Soliday have just kind of dove in with all of our kids and pulling them here and there and making sure that our tests are getting made up. So we are excited that we are close to getting them finished as we are running right up to the end before spring break. The good news is because we were kind of in that first half of the window, we do have some time when they come back. Additionally, we'll have our 5th and 8th graders take the Illinois Science Assessment when they come back as also part of that state assessment series. Just a couple more things. I told you a little bit about Prince Charmless, our spring play. The casting's been all done there. The performances are set for April 24th and 25th in the evening at 7 o'clock, and then there'll be a Sunday matinee show on the 26th. $5 for adults, $3 for students, and kids 5 and under are free. It's a pretty cute take on fairy tale. And lastly, track season started this week. With spring break coming and us trying to working out some transportation things. The kids have been practicing in Mansfield this week, kind of running the halls Monday and Tuesday, where Winter kind of was like, hey, I'm not done yet. And so it's okay to have them kind of run the halls, but they got out today. They'll get out, I'm sure, tomorrow, and we don't have practice on Friday. It's the last day before spring break. But when we come back, we've worked it out with transportation that our kids are going to be transported, and they're going to, the high school and the junior high will be practicing on the track after school, so on the new facilities. So the kids are super excited about that. Any questions? Wonderful, thank you.
All right. Well, gosh, since we last met, some busy times at the high school. Right after our last meeting, we had our FFA week. Lots of great things. Our college and career fair is always a big hit in the gym on Thursday, and then the barnyard where the little kids get to come over and see all the animals on Friday and learn a lot about farming. It's a great fun week. Spring sports got started. We wrapped up our Scholastic Bowl season with a regional championship here. Gosh, was that just last week? Feels like a month ago, but I think it was just last week.
Last Monday.
Yeah, okay. And then sectionals were here on Saturday. Came up just short in the championship match, but really good season for Scholastic Bowl. And then our Fine Arts Expo, we were able to get that in despite the winter weather on Monday night. And lots of great artwork in the hallways, and then music and drama on display in the gym. So coming up next week, everybody's excited about spring break. How that really impacts us at the high school is we have a band trip. They're leaving on Monday and going to Florida, and gonna perform at Disney and Universal Studios and work their way back. They are going to miss the first day of school when we come back, but hopefully they're well rested and ready to dive back in on the Tuesday when we're here. Because shortly after that, the following week is probably one of the most important days of the year for us. It's ACT Day. Our freshmen and sophomores will be taking the pre-ACT. There's a version for 9th graders and there's a version for 10th graders. And then the juniors have the ACT exam. And that is what the state uses to judge how good we are at teaching math and science and English. So it's a big it's a big day, and hopefully everybody's well rested and well fed, and we do that. And our seniors, they get that day off, so it's a special day for seniors as well. That's a perfect day for college visits and all kinds of things. Tying into the other two groups, the other two buildings rather, Bert mentioned the BCA Career Fair that his 8th graders got to go over to. We have somebody, at least one person that I saw, let's see. Yeah, there's a person back there in the audience that was a presenter at that career fair because she's a student at BCA right now, and so the current students get to talk to prospective students about the programs and really sell the program. So that's something that those kids can look forward to as well. And I missed getting over to vote on the cookies today. I was quite disappointed in that, but the reason I missed is because we did a reward incentive for some kids today, so I took 4 kids to Raising Cane's for lunch today. They had perfect scores when we did our cell phone caddy challenge last month. Like every single time we checked, their phone was in the phone caddy 10 out of 10 times, so they got that. One other kid didn't get to go to lunch because he goes to BCA, but I gave him a Culver's gift card, so he gets lunch on me too. So anyway, questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, as you can see from my board report, it's a really busy month, or busy months in the spring, just kind of in this position, wrapping up this current year and already starting to plan well into next school year. So sometimes I forget what year I'm working in if I say anything wrong. But the 2 things, well, there are 3 things I wanted to talk about. The first thing I want to touch on are the dual credit courses that Mr. Payton referenced. But the other day when we were having a conversation, we started talking about the dual credit opportunities. We added them up. And technically, our students now, if they took all of our dual credit courses, could have over 20 college credit hours going as soon as they graduate from high school. So that's really, really exciting. And 2 of the new courses that we'd like to add that will make that happen, like Mr. Payton said, are 2 of the Ed Pathway courses. It looks like the way that we would break these up in the fall is that we'd have 2 classes happening in the fall, 2 in the spring. They both would be at that 0 hour, 7 a.m. The way that we split it up is so that each semester has 5 credit hours. Another thing that I wanted to look at when we decided which courses we'd offer in the fall and which we would offer in the spring. 2 of the courses both require observation hours in the classroom, so we wanted to make sure we split those into different semesters so we didn't have kids trying to get 70 hours of observations in. So I think we will have education in a diverse society in the fall, as well as inquiry into teaching, which is what a couple, at least Brody's behind me, I know, is taking this semester. So that'll be in the fall. And then in the spring would be technology in the classroom, and then the whole child, teaching and learning in the education environment. And that's one of them that they need 30 observation hours. So I'm hoping to meet with Eastern the week after we get back from break to try to finalize, just meet with professors down there that already teach that so that we can get all the information we need to know when we hire someone to teach that position. Seems like I have something else to say about that. Questions about that part? I tried to give a description. Oh, I know what I was going to say. This year, we had some DLM Weldon students start out the semester with us, and then Blue Ridge students. Next year, I'm pretty sure we're going to have some Monticello students that are going to be joining us as well. So, of course, they will be joining us virtually, but that's exciting that we're starting to build. We've also reached out to BMIT when we wrote the original grant. They were also included. So we'll see if BMIT has any students. But next year, I think we'll probably have DLM Weldon, Blue Ridge, and Monticello, I think. Right now, I've spent a lot of time at the beginning of the year, I talked about our need to have a math curriculum review, and so I've started that process. We're going to have our first math committee on April 8th, and so that's going to be made up of K-12 math teachers, administrators, title teachers, special ed teachers. We want to make sure that we have, lots of voices in the room to kind of start with looking at what we currently are offering. Mr. Huddleston is creating kind of a review tool that has a rubric of what it is that we're looking for, what we know makes up a good math curriculum, and so we're going to utilize that first to kind of look at an overview of how we're doing in math. And then, like we did with the ELA adoption, from there, we'll kind of really look at what do we need to make sure that a math curriculum has. And so then after we use that tool, we'll ask the question, okay, do we have what we currently need? Are we good? Do we stay there? Or do we need to look at heading in a different direction? And so to be proactive with that, I've reached out. I think I have, I've talked to 8 different representatives so far, and I've started getting samples so that we can start looking at the samples. I've gotten some online digital trials for the teachers to take a look at. So we're making progress there. So that work's going to start April 8th. But remember, that adoption won't be for implementation until the 27-28 school year. That seems like so far away. But let's see. And then the last thing, I think I mentioned this last month, we are starting our next book study. We have 7 participants. This title is Hacking Group Work. It's by the same author that our last book study was done by, which was Connie Hamilton. I'm looking forward to that. It's always a great time of collaboration. The time goes really fast, and we're always wanting more time, but it is at the end of the day, so we're also ready to go home. So, do you have any questions? Okay. I'll have something really exciting maybe for you next month. I'll work on that.
Okay, remaining administrative reports are in the board packet. Up next, we have approval of consent items. Were there any questions or comments on consent items? Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Jason Iñigo.
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Dave Eager,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next is old business, unit office HVAC rezoning project.
All right. First is that exact project that you talked about. Sorry. We actually have Mr. Richard Van Noe back there. He is the engineer that helped kind of design some of these specs. And the first one is the rezoning project that we had. So that was something that occurred, well, it kind of started when they did the initial redesign of the unit office, I don't know, about 8 years ago, maybe a little bit further. It was initially 2 classrooms that were there. And then they were partitioned into several different spaces, creating some comfortability issues. But Richard, I don't know if you want to share a little bit more about that project.
Yeah, essentially what we ended up with is whenever they took the 2 classrooms, they turned them into the district office. They essentially took the spaces, subdivided each of the classrooms into different spaces, but then they went ahead and kept the VAV boxes as essentially a single zone. So we have multiple spaces within each of those old classrooms that are served by one zone and one VAV box. It's created some comfort issues for the occupants between essentially thermostat locations and having people on exterior walls with thermostats on interior walls. It's creating some issues. So what we went ahead and did is the project is essentially for the removal of those 2 VAV boxes and associated ductwork. We go ahead and go back in with multiple VAV boxes, basically to allow for the zoning of the space, to basically take that district office and take exterior areas, put them on their own spaces, interior areas, put them on their own spaces, and basically try and provide a better level of comfort to the occupants of the district office.
He explained that way better than I could. So.
Are there any questions? Okay, if there are no questions on this, I would need a motion and a second to approve going out for bids for the unit office HVAC project for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Larson
Second.
and Josh.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Dave Eager,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. And up next we have the high school second floor insulation project.
Richard, I'll let you take that one as well.
So what came across here is as we were having discussions with the maintenance staff, what we have is we have multiple locations at essentially almost every VAV box up there. What we're having the insulation essentially is beginning to fail. It seems to be failing prematurely even. What we're having is essentially water that's condensating onto the boxes and the ductwork. We're ended up with damaged ceiling tiles and basically water spots throughout the space. It's causing basically just maintenance issues, and it's something that the maintenance staff is essentially wanting to rectify by going ahead and essentially replacing the insulation. The concern was essentially, okay, what is causing some of these issues as well? The first consideration was possibility that maybe we were having some infiltration issues, basically some outdoor air that was making it into the space above the ceiling. The architect for the district came over and took a look. We don't believe that the issue we're having at this point in time is essentially infiltration. We don't believe it's outdoor air that's coming into the space that's causing much of our issues. One of the biggest concerns we have is we have a very large ceiling space cavity up there above the ceiling. One of the biggest issues that we believe we may be having is essentially you're ending up with, in like a standard space with a standard flat ceiling, it's fairly small ceiling cavity. Essentially the cooling or the heating of the space kind of drifts through the ceiling tiles, takes care of the conditioning of the space above the ceiling. What our concern is that we have a very large cavity up there. Essentially we have no conditioning of the space above, and concern is that what we're ending up with is, especially like over the middle of summer nights, you're going to end up with times where the ceiling cavity up there can become 80, 85, 90 degrees, and then kick on the system in the morning cooling, and we're creating some condensation issues. The hope is that, of course, that we can rectify a lot of that with the insulation, but of course, beyond that, it's a large cavity up there to have with no conditioning. So the intent is to put a couple of heat pumps up there. The heat pumps allow for the ability to both heat and cool the space and make sure essentially that we're conditioning that space to kind of keep from putting a lot of that load onto the VAV boxes as well that serve those spaces.
So an additional system,
Hmm?
an additional system,
Yes.
separate from what's existing. Why can't we
Yes.
do it with the chillers?
So the conversations that I had with the maintenance staff, the intent here was to try to go ahead and do it with an additional system, basically because you're going to end up with some times during the summer, you're going to end up some times during like the off season where the chillers are essentially just going to not be operating. They don't need to operate because you're going to have kind of shoulder months. With the ceiling load coming off of kind of the heat and heating that space, that cavity above there, the intent was kind of take that, completely separate it from the main system and do it with a separate system.
You know, what kind of system are you thinking of? I know you said heat pump, so air conditioner, but are we talking mini splits or are we talking?
It essentially looks like it's a mini split system. Conventionally, when you say the word mini split, a lot of people think that you're dealing with just cooling only. Being a heat pump, this would be a cooling and heating system, but it would look like your conventional mini split where you would have an outdoor unit on the adjacent roof and a wall-mounted head inside.
Are there any other options instead of having a wall-mounted head inside?
There are a couple of different ways to approach it. You could, like I said, we could do a fan coil, we could do a ducted unit. There's a couple of different ways to do it. What the intent here was to try to kind of reduce the amount of cost as much as we could to the district by essentially going with this heat pump solution and just a wall-mounted head.
I'm just thinking maintenance as well. If we've got a heat pump head that's up in a cavity that's inaccessible or relatively inaccessible, because, well, I mean, how high are you going to be in that cavity? I know it's big. And how many, is it one wide open cavity up there or is it partitioned?
I believe it's one wide open cavity up there.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I've only been up there once.
And it's not walkable at all, right?
No.
It's just
The intent would be to basically put it up towards an exterior wall and not put it 10 feet up in the air to where we don't have the ability to not reduce the ability to access.
Is there any insulation on the roof deck?
So the insulation I believe up there is at the deck.
yeah, it's just on the back side of the metal. There's not much, like, not much, hardly any. Basically, the ceiling tile is providing the insulation for the building.
So the condensation is the problem on the ductwork. Is there any condensation on the pipes or pipe fittings on the?
Now that we're seeing it seems to be the biggest issue we're having here is on the ductwork.
Is there a dedicated dehumidifier option to solve just the condensation so we're not, nobody's up there for comfort?
Yep, no, I understand. Like I said, there's a couple of different options here. This is essentially what we kind of came to based upon discussions with the district. We have different options we can go. If it turns out that we need to move towards tying it into the chilled water system, it's an option. If there's dehumidification, that's an option as well.
Because I'm worried too about the access. You put an equipment out there, it's out of sight and less likely.
If we go with dehumidification though, it's still going to be a system. It's still going to it's going to have a fan. It's still going to be a unit that would need maintenance. So it's not that I'm against any of the other options. It's just this is kind of where we've landed.
Are we pretty sure that fixing the insulation won't solve the problem that we need?
Up to this point in time, in most cases, what I would tell you is that insulation is usually what the culprit is here. What we've had though is the insulation has been patched multiple times and it seems to be an issue that keeps coming back.
And there's no way to do it right, or there is no right solution towards the insulation if it has to keep on getting patched.
What the concern here is, and what I'm trying to avoid more than anything, is I'm trying to avoid taking another swing at an installation solution and then having the problem arise again. I'm more than willing, if what we come to is that we want to do the installation, have it done, verify that we aren't having issues. I work for the district, so I'm not fighting as to what we should or shouldn't do here. I'm just trying to provide answers above and beyond what we normally see.
Has anybody checked for duct leaks, air duct leaks that could be causing the moisture problem in addition to the insulation? Because I mean, if there's a breach, then that could lead to issues too.
We haven't checked. It's not something that we've seen. It's not something that we've heard of based on conversations we've had. The thing we have here is it seems to be so evident at so many of the VAV boxes that it's not something that I would expect to be the situation here.
It's just getting too cold right there.
Yeah.
Sounds like it needs more insulation.
And like I said,
That's what it sounds.
I understand.
But, yeah.
Vapor barrier all over the place.
What's that?
New insulation and vapor barrier on the whole roof or something, that'd be a different project.
Yeah.
Would the duct sealing be part of that? So after they take the bad insulation off, clean it, would they look at sealing or putting mastic on it?
We could essentially have a note within the documents that essentially states that during removal and replacement of insulation, please inspect basically the quality of the ductwork and verify that we're not dealing with duct leaks. Like that, we can account for that.
How much I did not see that. How thick was the insulation that they're putting on? What kind of R value is it going to end up being? Because I'm just thinking, we've got it set up on the roof, and those ducts are insulated, and they are not rusting through or a problem. I mean, we had to redo it all here a couple of years ago, but that was after, well, it's probably about the same age as the ductwork in that ceiling.
It is, yeah.
So, I mean, if we did that successfully, why can't we do that successfully? I know that is not above the finished space. I get it.
No, actually.
If that's not sweating, we should be able to get that to stop sweating.
Like I said, it's not here to fight or to say that this is the direct solution. It's just trying my best to provide something that would provide basically peace of mind to the district. That was the direction we were headed.
I just don't like the idea of an additional system to keep up, especially with all the trouble that
and
we
with
have
the heat
on
pump,
these splits.
it's kind of 4 systems, right? You got the two indoor box units and 2 outdoor units.
Well, how many tons of cooling would it be for that space?
I believe that ended up, because I basically sized it based upon kind of the roof load, it ends up being about 4 tons.
I read 5 tons.
Was it 5?
It's in the documents.
Yeah,
it's all there.
Would we be able to add this system to our existing maintenance contract with UNM?
Oh.
It's just extra cost.
Yeah.
Another thing for them to look at.
Yeah.
And it's, using energy up there too.
Would there be the ability, I mean, do we want to look at kind of breaking the project down and doing like an addendum for, just the insulation and then the mini split, like 2 separate mini pumps, I should say? Do we want to look at that? Do you want to go only insulation? And do we feel like
that would
that's
be able to be accomplished with just insulation? I mean, there are so many systems that are in people's attics that don't have this problem, don't ruin their houses. I think it ought to be able to be accomplished with just insulating the AVA or GWIS, the acronyms.
Off the top of my head, remember what the cost of the insulation is? I also don't want to be in a situation where we put in the insulation and it's a hefty cost, and then the same issue occurs, and then we're out on that money as well. So that's a concern that I have.
Yeah, I would prefer doing just the insulation, the passive solution, and maybe come back on a design day after it's done and see if there's any sweating, and then revisit the heat pumps then.
I work for the district, so I understand I understand concerns, I understand where you're headed. The only thing, I think if we go just insulation, we need to be very proactive on the backside of the project at kind of staying on top of it and verifying that we're keeping an eye on these systems and these units, because the concern I have is if it's something that seems to start to creep back, it'll get you before you kind of know it. Because the way insulation can get, if it starts to get wet, the insulation will be soaked before you actually get to a problem. So, like I said, I'm at the will of what you guys would like to do.
Do we want to, we're also kind of looking at a time frame as well. Just wondering if we want to look at just approving the project pending some revisions. I don't know how specific we can be in regards to a motion here. Do we want to?
When do we need a decision on it by?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, we would need to, I mean, I would imagine that taking off the mechanical side of it would probably reduce the cost in general.
Yeah. In terms of
Timing.
documentation, you decide that that's the direction you want to take. It's easy for me to do it document-wise. That's not an issue. Issue is what we were hoping to do is get this out on the streets. It wasn't going to be out for very long because these are not large-scale projects. Get a bid, get them back in, and go ahead and get them turned around. The concern is that if we would move through document revisions and put this out on the streets, say after the next board meeting, then you're going to be looking at likely not being able to start the work until maybe early to mid-July, just based upon, we might be able to get quicker if it gets to just insulation. Because at that point in time, we're talking about not needing to purchase equipment. I don't know what you guys need to do in terms of motions and revisions and how you can put this through. What I am saying is that me, as the engineer, could get this revised and on the streets without the heat pumps. So that's not the time.
We just need to make a decision is what it
Yes.
Nope, I understand. Yeah.
As a board making that decision.
I'm just saying, like, I can achieve it. That's not the issue. It's
I know it's not always ideal, but I know we've done going out for bids for things before where it's like, it's this or possibly adding this on. Are we able to do that so that maybe looking at the cost of what it would be to add the heat pumps on, we can look at those separate?
it would be essentially what it would be is it would be adding an alternate is essentially what we would call it. The bidding would come in with a base cost, then with an alternate on it, which would be the heat pump adder. So it is a possibility.
Because then maybe if we could do that way, we could still be moving forward and have more time to maybe have any conversations that anyone on the board would feel comfortable, talking maybe to Rusty even or different things. But yet we're not stopping the bid process and the whole, I just hate to limit us now.
No,
And
I
having this
understand.
only go for option one, whereas if we can do it where, hey, this is what option one, but this is what it would add on there, but then having that additional conversation, then I just feel like we'd be able to make a
making
fully,
progress in the meantime.
yeah. I just
I
hate
like
to cut
that
the second
idea.
part off and then you guys
Yeah.
come back and say, well, we talked to Rusty more and we actually came and looked and yeah, we really need to do that. It's like, okay, well, the bid doesn't have,
Right.
I'd rather just
Then
have
we'll
that
have it.
out there.
I like that idea.
So it's done.
Go for an option for the heat pump.
That's
in
fine.
addition to the insulation.
We could do an alternate, and essentially what that would do is let us get on the streets, we could get bids in, we could get into the bidding process. And then whenever it came time for you guys to essentially approve the bids, what that becomes is you guys then have the option, which would essentially be the next meeting, you would have the option to approve as base or base plus alternate.
That's not like a
That's
right direction to go. Okay.
There's minor modifications to documentation for me to achieve that, so that's not.
Great.
Great.
And I definitely would encourage anyone, I mean, obviously you've given some great information,
Yes.
but if you want to talk with Rusty or someone else in the building, or you want to come have a field trip and see what they're talking about,
Yep.
that they've got some others.
We can definitely go.
I'm not coming to that, but I don't want to go up the ladder. I'm good. Okay, So with that in mind of how the bid would be written, I need a motion and a second to approve going out for bids for the second floor insulation project for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Sig and Nagel.
Seginger,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Nagel,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes.
Ramsey Miller.
Yes. Up next, new business, district calendar 26-27.
All right, district calendar is here and hoping to get that approved this evening. So this has been a process that's been going on for quite some time. We used our ILT to help kind of provide some guidance. That's instructional leadership team. From there, we did some staff surveys to get some feedback, talk with union leadership. Admin has been a part of those conversations. And basically what you will see is a calendar that starts on the 17th with Curriculum Day, Institute on the 18th, and First Attendance Day on the 19th, so it's about a week later than typical. We've kind of moved back a little bit. And then you can see that spring break is the same kind of week that it typically is. It's that last full week of March. That is in alignment with BCA, which is Bloomington Career Academy, which many of the districts kind of in ROE 17 follow. And last attendance day is the 27th, so that gets us out just before Memorial Day. You can also see on there, there's 6 early out or early dismissal days that are embedded throughout the year for the teacher collaboration conversations that we talked about this year. Any questions about the calendar?
Okay, if there's no questions or comments, I need a motion and a second to approve the 2026-2027 calendar for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Yeagle and Larson.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Seginger,
Yes.
Ramsey Miller.
Yes. Up next, we have dual credit education pathways courses.
We've talked quite a bit about those already. I know that Paige talked about them. I shared a little bit. You've had the information here. These are the 2 courses that we'll be offering that'll be new next semester. Any questions about those?
Okay, if there's no questions or comments, I need a motion and a second to approve 2 new dual credit education pathways courses. Education in a Diverse Society, the Multilingual, Multicultural Classroom, and the Whole Child, Teaching and Learning in an Educational Environment for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
Jason?
Second.
Larson?
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Seginger,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Ramsey Miller.
Yes. Up next is O&M replacement truck.
All right, so this is a topic that's kind of been around since last school year. This purchase got pushed back because we wanted to purchase a van last year for student transportation. But one of our O&M trucks is in extremely bad shape. It's actually a 2015. It's only got 67,000 miles on it, but it's just not been well, has not been maintained well. So a couple of things there. You can see some of the past issues. This was written up by our mechanic. It kind of shows some of the issues that it has gone through, run out of oil a couple of times. You can see the transmission has an issue right now. The rusting is terrible. There's a lot of not only mechanical but electrical issues that are going on with the vehicle itself. And so we are looking at moving forward with the purchase of a new replacement. There's a couple of quotes that I shared with you also. You should have been able to see the overall cost. The overall cost is a base plus just some additional pieces like the 4-wheel drive and the plow and some of those components that are needed for snow removal, etc. The 2 finance quotes I got just because I wanted to kind of get a general idea of what that would be and what that would look like as far as payments go. So the overall cost you can see is listed around $47,500. There's 2 different pieces here. There's one that's dated on March 17th. The one that's dated March 17th is basically 2 payments. You can see the rate there at 7.64, and you can see the total of 49 and some change there. If you stay on this page down at the bottom, what I just added were some of my notes. Basically, you can see the fund extension in Fund 20 last year. You can see the tax levy money that we're expected to receive for next school year. You can see the increase that's circled there of $211,000. So that's new money that we have coming in for O&M purchases and O&M expenditures, I should say. If you take a look over at March 13th, you can see the second finance book that's there. That is a 5-year. You can see the increase. It's got an additional $5,000 to $6,000 that we would pay. So I just kind of wanted to share some of those with you and get your thoughts on just kind of next steps.
Is there any advantage to financing it?
I think sometimes it just helps kind of with the overall budget, you know what I mean? So you kind of see what you can kind of put in there. I think it's 24, you know, you kind of spread that out. I think with the money that we have coming in, we don't really have any expected big, well, I haven't created the budget yet, you know what I mean? And there's always things that come up. But if we can save, you know, $7,000 by purchasing outright, I would be on board with that decision. We have the money that's there. And so that would be my preference, to save the district money.
I'd rather not have a loan.
Yeah.
More to the point of the interest on it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I just did some quick math. If we did the 2 payments, it's a little over $1,700 in interest. The 5 payments is over $7,400.
Yeah, I knew it was over 7,000.
Yeah, it's about right under $5,700 different, so
Yeah.
that's, in my book, like huge. Are you comfortable with the budget?
I like the 2-year a little bit more. 1,700 is not as bad. I mean, but honestly, you know, we have the money that's coming in with the new tax money that's expected, and so I'm comfortable with that. Honestly, I will. Either way, I mean, the key is that we want to get the purchase done today. It could be a difference of $1,700, so I'll do a little bit more digging into that. This is the first time I've really purchased a vehicle, you know, so it's kind of a new thing for me. I will talk with our finance guy tomorrow just to finalize whether we think we should just pay the whole $47,000 or whether we should just finance and add the additional $1,700. I just wasn't comfortable with the $7,000. I thought that was way too much. I don't want to get into that type of an interest. I think that's just money that we don't, that's a direction we don't need to go. Just looking at a budget, I'll just have that dialogue and see, but I'm really leaning toward the one-time purchase to save interest.
I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Just pay for it
Yeah.
and done.
Well, I'm good with that. We'll move that direction.
I have questions on financing.
Yeah.
This report refers to the previous user a couple of times. Who is the previous user?
A former O&M director.
We bought this new.
Good question. I'm not sure if it was purchased new or if it was a trade-in. I don't know 100%. This has been around for I'm trying to think how long it was then. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's been around for the last 2 O&M supervisors.
I think it has too.
So that's quite a few years.
I'm finding this information to just be incredulous. Ran out of oil twice, cut GPS wires. How can we let that happen?
Well,
And
It was
No
all
longer
it
a
itself.
cannot happen again. It can't. And then my final question is, will the new truck come equipped with seatbelts?
I would think so.
Well, I will hope they'll use it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a standard feature. Okay. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, I need a motion and a second to approve the purchase of a replacement O&M truck for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
I have Yeagle and is that Jason?
Yes.
Yeagle and Jason.
Josh Kahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Sig Inger,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Next is the fiscal year 24 single audit.
Yes, so we received our audit. We typically get that usually sometime in October, but it's taken a little bit longer this year. This is the single audit, so basically this takes a look at any time a district receives, or probably any public entity, I would imagine, more than $750,000 in federal grants, they're required to complete an audit annually. And so this is probably the last year that we'll have this in quite some time. This is really a product of the ESSER money that had come through over the last several years. And so, like I said, we will probably not encounter another single audit for quite some time. But there was one finding in the audit, and so you can see that listed. It had to do with, I'll pull it up here real quick. So, I mean, for lack of a better words, basically what was happened is that there was something that at one point was recorded incorrectly on the ledger. And so basically, what we believe it was that there was a budget line where the auditor felt, you know, money should have been taken from a different account. So the ledger and the budget line did not match up. And so one of the things that they do is just basically look at, you know, a corrective action plan. And so that's what's listed in there, is that basically every time that we do any type of grant expenditure, the process will be that we'll have basically an independent reviewer page. That's going to be probably you for most of those grant expenditures. That will be actually. So I talked with Kara since we just received this, and so basically that every time before we submit grant expenditures, we do that quarterly for all the grants that we receive. Basically, they will be reviewed by an independent person that will just look and make sure that the accounts are correct and they're matched up, which you know those grants very well. So that'll be kind of the corrective action process that we take. I'm hoping that now that we've got this back, we'll also be a little step closer to our actual FY25 audit as well. So that should be hopefully the next step.
Any questions or comments? If not, I need a motion and second to approve the 2023-2024 single audit for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18, conducted by Cole and Associates, PLLC, Shelbyville, Illinois, as presented.
So moved.
Larson,
I'll second.
Josh,
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Dave Eager,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
yes. And I need a motion and a second to move from open session to closed session for collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and discussion of the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the school district at 7:57.
So moved.
Yeagle,
Second.
Larson,
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Dave Eager,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
yes.
Thanks for coming in, guys.